Autism in adults. I've heard a lot of times parents say, I am very sure even I have autism. People who are neurodivergent, autism and ADHD, they have not had an easy childhood. I mean, you don't measure autism with ppm, but I'm just giving an example that it is that minor, like literally some parts in million, like that kind of autistic traits. So that is why it went unnoticed, but then it does show up at times. These are the things that you can use to diagnose whether you yourself are on the spectrum, or if you're wanting this input for another person, whether if they are there on the spectrum. Audio Jungle. Hello everybody, Rajni here from SASHAKT Empowering Lives. So today's topic is slightly, it's different. Autism in adults. I've heard a lot of times parents say, I am very sure even I have autism. The self-diagnosed people. So they say, I'm very sure I also have autism. Yeah. How are you sure? Because I never had a diagnosis. As in I'm not talking Rajni, I'm talking about people. So I never had a diagnosis, but whatever my child is, my son is doing, these are the things I used to do as a kid. Huh? So while those are explanations we give to ourselves for an ever inquiring brain which says, how come my kid got this? And then the brain needs something to latch onto. And then the parents say, well, it's come from me because I have it. I understand that dynamic, and feel free to feel that ways if you want to, although it doesn't make much of a difference other than giving that little satisfaction to the parent that, okay, this is it because I have it, so that's how. Best thing to do is to go for a diagnosis. And there are diagnoses for adults also. Yeah. So the best thing to do is to go for a diagnosis to find out if you actually do have autism, if we're talking about your own self. Now, the topic is how to identify autism in an adult. Now, for anybody else, first thing is we don't go out hunting to see, oh, this one, he has it, this one, she has it. No, that's not our job. We don't have so much of time also. That's each one, is their own journey. So, but sometimes if autism was so minor and it was it was present, neurodiversity was present, but the amount was so minor. I mean, the amount of impact it had on the person concerned was so minor that it went unnoticed and parents did not give any intervention whatsoever. And somehow through struggles and stuff, schooling also could be taken care of by the child. The first thing to see here in this case is that people who are neurodivergent, autism and ADHD, they have not had an easy childhood. They've had an action-packed, almost to the point of being traumatic childhood. Why I say traumatic? Because they've had more fights, they've had more troubles at school as compared to the regular so-called people. They've had more of these issues. So their past will tell you that yes, there is an element of autism here. Yeah. Next thing. If you get into an argument with them, or not an argument, like if you get into talking with them, sometimes they will drift to irrelevant topics. And they'll keep going one topic to the other, they'll not stick around it. Obviously, if they've survived this long without a diagnosis and without anybody, taking them towards structured therapy, it's a clear indication that these are the people who are over the top high functioning, over the top, and the problem was so minor, like you have in medicines ppm, parts per million. So, you don't measure autism with ppm, but I'm just giving an example that it is that minor, like literally some parts in million, like that kind of autistic traits. So that is why it went unnoticed, but then it does show up at times. Impulse control is a major one with ADHD and autism. So if I want a particular dress, then it's very difficult for me to control myself to not go for that dress. And if I somehow curb the urge to not go for the dress, then I'm so depressed inside that, oh, I didn't take it. That's a sign. Okay, because people who don't have autism will not lose peace of mind over a particular food or a dress, but somebody who does have autism, it will be very difficult to sustain themselves. So they will, sustain in the sense, in terms of peace, very difficult. They keep thinking about that dress until they've bought it. Yeah, they keep thinking about that particular gadget or something. They get hooked onto it. Rigid pattern. So if you are wanting to know how to diagnose an adult, if that's exactly you yourself or another person, your loved ones in your family, do they get hooked onto something and then they're not able to get off hook? Yeah, and their brain will just keep on processing the same thing over and over and over and over again, keep on mulling over it. That could be a sign that the person does have autism. Okay, language abilities, obviously if autism is there, even if it's very very minor, somewhere you will see there will be gaps there. Yeah, again, even with language they'll move in a loop. So they're saying one thing, another, and then they come back to the same topic which has been discussed and it's over, but they're again picking it up. It's over, you're not discussing it. And again, they're going back to the same topic. So these are signs of uh, autism in adults, that, I wanted to go to that shop. So even if it is 10, even if it is risky, let me still go to that shop. It's dark. It's, not too safe to go outside. I'm just giving example, but the person would still go. Then that is a sign of autism, because they lose peace if they don't go. To get peaceful, they have to, it's stuck here. Yeah, to a minor extent that happens to everybody, but with autism it happens way too much. Yeah. uh, Beyond that, like the impulse control, as well as the language ability, and the ability to socialize and make friends, that is also compromised. So very difficult for them to make friends and stick onto friends. Yeah, because they might just diplomatically, they don't know certain things, what to say, what not to say, and they might land up losing a good friend because they said something which they shouldn't have. So all of these things put together, the rigid patterns, the deviations in language, the deviations in social, yeah, these are the things that you can use to diagnose whether you yourself are on the spectrum, or if you're wanting this input for another person, whether if they are there on the spectrum. I hope this video was of value to you. I'll meet you another time with another video. Until then, keep learning about autism and keep helping your children.